Buying model sets to add to your pile of shame is basically as big a part of the hobby as building and painting.
It's gonna fall over.
It's okay. It's okay. I didn't think it was this bad. And as someone who's kind of known for comparing basically everything about Gundam and Warhammer, that got me thinking. Who has the best retail experience? So to explore this, I'd have to go to the native regions of both Warhammer and Gundam. I've already got the UK covered, seeing as I live here. So, fine, if I have to. I guess I'll come to Japan. I mean, who would want to come to Japan anyway? I may not really enjoy it that much, doing all the things I really wanted to since I was a kid. Like eating too much sushi, meeting the Shogun, seeing Mount Fuji. But who would want to see all of the culture and heritage? Like all the really cool trains, meeting Hello Kitty. That's Osaka Castle. Hey look, unicorn. And being so good at the national pastime of crane games that you win an absolutely vast Kirby that doesn't fit in your luggage, forcing you and your new wife to have to take it as a carry-on on your plane home. Yeah, that sounds really terrible. Who would want to do that? This video is sponsored by my lovely wife Chloe, who has begrudgingly let me film a couple of videos whilst we're on our honeymoon here in Japan during soccer season. Say thank you, Chloe, in the comments. And whilst you're there, why not consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel? It tells YouTube that this video is a good one. So today in this video, we are going to be comparing the flagship locations of where you can buy Gunpla and 40k. But first, we're gonna need a baseline. So let's compare the independent hobby stores of both the UK and Japan before taking a look at the flagship retail experiences. Now, most Western hobby stores who sell Warhammer are usually laid out like this, with different interests merchandised into different sections. Often in the stores, there's places to play games, or a painting station to paint your models. A lot of hobby stores will also diversify into other communities and interests, like TCGs and comics. The stores are community focused, hosting events and community days. It's a great place to play. So I'd say they're A tier. You should support local and support where you play. Now over to our correspondent in the field, finding out more about Japanese hobby stores. We haven't been in any of the shops yet, but I imagine somehow this is going to have a lot of Gunpla. I'm just as a guess. Unlike Warhammer being a niche topic in the UK, Gundam is an absolute cultural phenomenon in Japan, and you can find Gunpla sets basically anywhere from the smallest konbinis to the biggest department stores. There's even Gunpla at the airport. You can never escape Mr. Gundam in Japan. Not only were they stocked with the latest releases, but most stores had a great stock of both modern and classic kits. And as a kit basher, it was incredible to see the amount of spare parts and upgrade kits available too. A great standard practice between most stores was to have the completed sets in displays above where the kits were stocked on the shelves, so you could always see the level of detail and complexity you were getting yourself in for. A tier. Whilst the ones we found were more set up for a retail experience, it really would have been great to see some places to build your models. But from our experience, space is at a premium when you're in Japan. So that's what the indies do, but what about the official regional stores? Well, in the UK, most large towns and cities have a Warhammer store, and they often have a great visual storefront to draw you in. But whilst these locations have an okay stock of only Games Workshop products, they are more set up as introduction centers for beginner hobbyists, focused on getting you into the hobby rather than serving existing customers. And the introductory mindset even goes into how the store is laid out and how the staff act. The staff are tracked on metrics of how many demo games they give and how many starter sets they sell. This leads to them having a reputation of being quite pushy, feeling like they have scripted talking points instead of having a natural, organic conversation about something that they're really into. B tier. Personally, I don't get on with the hard sell approach that a lot of staff are encouraged to have, but as a true beginner, I could see why these stores would have some appeal. Heading back to Japan, they also have something very similar to local Warhammer stores with Gundam-based satellite stores, like this one in Kyoto. And the initial impressions were really good. The store was clean and brightly lit, and it seemed like there was tons of stock. They had a great visual storefront with a bunch of Gundams on display with information next to them that told you what series they were from. Unsurprisingly, inside the store they sell only Bandai products, but there was also...
Look, you can buy them and build them.
Oh wow! Not only was there this building space, but there was also a diorama space for you to host your own photo shoot for your newly built Gundam. Who are you wearing? You look fabulous! But whilst there was tons of models on display... That's really cool. He is sold out. I imagine that says sold out because I can't see a lot of them.
There is a really cool set they've got in the SD section, but it's sold out.
These black ones are awesome and all sold out. I haven't seen that anywhere.
No, it looks like it's sold out.
That seems to be the theme. They've got tons of stock, but it's stock of stuff that isn't selling. This is where the display cabinets are kind of a double-edged sword, because when you have stock, they're great, but when you don't... It just left me with kind of FOMO, because there's all the cool stuff in the cabinets, but you couldn't buy any of them. And now I want all those kits, and I have no idea where I get them. B tier. Whilst the store layout and the displays were really great, the lack of the most popular sets to buy is kind of a negative. So where did all the stock go? Well, the spring of 2025 was a great time to be in Japan as a Gundam fan, because the Gundam-based World Tour was beginning alongside the World Expo in Osaka, and a quick look through the gaps in the barriers showed that a lot of the stock was redirected here rather than the satellite stores. Don't know if either of us are going to actually be able to get in, because there's a lottery to get tickets. With most popular public events in Japan, it's a standard practice to use a lottery system for tickets to prevent scalping and control crowds. To enter this lottery in particular, there was an added step that you needed to be within 900 meters of the pop-up to be able to request entry. How do you deal with as much demand for something so nationally loved and recognized as Gunpla? I don't know. Is this the best way? I also don't know. But this is the way it is. I just hope we get in because there's so many sets in there that I actually want. And so, time for the draw of the lottery came.
Ready, go!
Bad news. Neither of us got in.
Failure.
That's because, what it says on our tickets for those who don't speak Japanese, we hate you, Will Powell, specifically and vigorously. I'm not gonna lie, it's very frustrating to come halfway across the world and not get a ticket to get in. The lottery system is not great because it will always disappoint people. It would have been nice to have done this and not have to come here, because now we're here and it's incredibly disappointing because I can see it, which leaves me very upset. And now you upset me, I'm putting you in F tier. Wait, hang on, that's not low enough. I'm making a new tier, lottery system tier. If we can't get into the pop-up for now, why don't we take a look at one of our first flagship locations in Diver City. This is the one Gundam place that everyone knows to come to whilst in Tokyo. That's because it's not only home to Tokyo's Gundam base, but also the absolutely massive Gundam Unicorn. Unicorn is absolutely massive. Apparently this is life-size. It's an amazing photo opportunity for any Gundam fan. But don't let this sign behind Unicorn fool you. This small store selling souvenirs, plushies, and a handful of Gundam base exclusive kits is not the main Gundam base. That's inside the shopping center. Walking into the store, Gundam Base Tokyo acted as part store and part Gunpla museum, as there were so many models on display. That's insane. I think we're gonna need one of these. And what made the store especially great was how flexible the space is. It's huge and can be converted into lots of different setups. Nice. One of the main draws of coming to Gundam Base is the Gundam Base Limited Sets, a line of exclusive sets with different parts or a palette swap that you can only get at a Gundam Base. Heading into the rest of the store, Gundam Base Tokyo had an absolutely massive selection of in-production kits. But we did still notice some of the most popular sets were out of stock and most likely diverted to the pop-up in Osaka. This is absolutely incredible. I really don't understand why people were like, oh, don't bother coming to Gundam Base in Odaiba. That doesn't make sense. It definitely seemed to be better of an experience than the satellite stores. There was a lot more stock. It just makes you really excited about building and making kits. I'd say this is S tier. I was really impressed with my visit to Gundam Base Tokyo. It's one of the best places to buy Gunpla, merch, and the fact that Unicorn is an entire thing, this is a must-see for any Gundam fan. This is one of the best flagship hobby stores in the world. Well, what about Warhammer? Well, they have a very similar flagship retail experience in Warhammer World. Or that's what I would be saying, if Games Workshop let you film at Warhammer World, which, they don't. Yeah. Which, hey, that's fair enough. You know, this Games Workshop property. So, in interest of respecting their wishes, I'll just tell you about it for a bit. You go in the front, there's some statues. There's, a Space Marine Rhino, an old-style Space Marine. And then you see all the dioramas. And then there's a big old hall where you can rent tables and they host events, and there's a pub. So, where does it rank? I'd say, I can't tell you. But I can tell you about the coolest Gundam thing we did in Japan. In Osaka, there was also the Gundam Next Pavilion at the World Expo. And it was friggin' sweet because look, there's Mr. Gundam himself. He's right outside. Well, outside of what? I don't know. It's a dark ride. First you go in, and then there's a little TV show by the ball. And then you go in and wow, are those space elevators? Are we going up in space? Yeah, and then there's, we're going up with Zach, and they fly us up into space, and that's really cool. And then we go to the space station, and it's really cool. Look at all the Gundams in the future. And oh my god, something's happened in that space debris. Is that Zeon? It's the evil Zeon. We all need to escape. Oh my god, get in the space shuttle. and then we're there, and then he's still chasing us. But who is that? Oh my god, is it our hero? Is that Mr. Gundam? Oh my god. And then they're having a cool, sick anime robot battle in space. And Mr. Gundam wins, and then hell yeah, and then we're going down, and we're going back to the expo in Osaka, and we're burning up in the atmosphere, and then we land safely. Woo! Wait, what was this video about again? Oh, right, hobby stores. At the end of our trip, we did actually get into the pop-up in Osaka by getting a hotel within the radius to make the lottery easy. And they did have a lot of cool stuff, and yes, I bought a lot of it. And they had quite a few things that were a tie-in to the next future pavilion. But you see this little kiosk here. They sold this book, and this is technically a Bandai Gundam product, which makes it the best hobby store in the world because they had a ride. And you can't go to it because it's closed.